as an outpatient psychiatrist for many, many years. I was a psychiatrist in Egypt and here. I've been in the States since 1997. I do deal with high-functioning patients, so patients who work and have families, so I do listen to a lot of problems every day. That's my job. I prescribe medications, yes, but I have to listen to problems so I know which medication to prescribe. Of course, I agree with what Verena said about the Bible and the Holy Spirit. I think when it comes to counseling, we all look for a change. And when it comes to changing a person or changing a heart, it only comes by the Holy Spirit. I don't want to sound as a priest, because Verena is a priest, I am a psychiatrist, but this is what we see in clinical practice. If there is no spiritual background, counseling does not work. When we counsel someone, if there is no Holy Spirit involved, people listen to ways how to change others. Like if I'm counseling a husband, he listened to me looking for ways to change his wife. But if you have the Holy Spirit working on you, you will listen to see how you can change to become a better husband so your wife can become a better wife. So a change always starts with yourself if you want to change your family. It always starts by yourself. The Holy Spirit is comforting if you walk in the light. If you walk in the dark, the Holy Spirit is condemning. It's not good. It's not a good feeling to have the Holy Spirit booking your heart. I believe, and this is kind of scientific, that our action depends on emotions. When you go to a psychologist, he will tell you about your emotions, how to deal with your emotions and how to deal with others' emotions, how to set limits between your emotions and others. So he deals with you on emotions level. But there is a deeper level than emotions, which is the spirit. The spirit is the wind that moves us. There is a spirit that works on the disobedient people. It's in Galatians 5. Spirit that work on the disobedient, full of adultery, hate, envious. This is a spirit that moves emotions, and emotions move action. But there is also the Holy Spirit that also moves emotions, and emotions move action. The fruits of the Spirit, we all know the 9 fruits: love, patience, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness, long-suffering. We all know the 9 fruits of the Spirit. The Spirit is given to us not as gifts. We do receive the Spirit in baptism as seeds, but we do need the fruits, and the fruits need cultivation. Takes time, takes work, take honesty with yourself. So it does take work for you to change, for the seeds that we received in the baptism to become fruits of the Spirit. And this is all what we need in life in order to change yourself first and then change your family. Best way to make your kids better kids is to become a better parent. Best way to make your wife a better wife is to become a better husband. So when you listen to counseling, please listen to ways to change yourself, not to change others. Because if you change yourself, and this is what you can do through the work of the Holy Spirit, then others will change consequently. So, when we talk, please, I like interaction. I know no more than you do. But when you talk and give me some feedback, you stimulate my thinking. You remind me of some of the experiences that I had in my practice. So please give me your feedback, comments, and interaction would be great, so we can benefit all in the meeting. Thank you.
Comments so far? What do you guys think? Come on.
Just said interaction. Anything, negative, positive. Yes.
That's really hard right now are, I guess, the kids at school. So the kids that are around our kids, so they're coming home saying, like,
So why there's no place safe and comfortable?
Well, the kids at school, they might be cursing, using that language.
Oh, okay.
Or
Oh.
lots of inappropriate topic, and so they're going places and they said it's like stuck in my head and
Mm.
they feel a lot of stress about this.
Well, you're asking how to deal with this
Yeah,
issues?
this is a big topic for us.
Yeah, so in general, we can put some big guidelines, but it's case by case, of course, depending on the topic, depending on how the day went in school. But in general, as big rules, you first need to control your emotions when you talk to the kid. You don't want to emotionally react. Just keep calm, even if your child tells you something that is triggering your emotions. And you will hear that. You need to keep calm. Even if you have to go to the bathroom and come back, just take it out in the bathroom and then come back. Just keep calm, okay? And listen to your child with understanding, meaning that he's a child. You have to give him that. A child has to act as a child, okay? So he has to make mistakes, he has to be surprised, he has to make some poor judgment. You need to ask and you need to answer. So give him that. He doesn't understand, he's learning, okay? So listen to him, put yourself in his shoes, and agree with his feelings. We all need to be, to feel validated. He is confused why my friend said that, and what's wrong with that, or what's right with that. So you need to agree with his feelings. And then you meet with his feelings, you agree with his feelings, and then you take him to your place or a better way of understanding or a better view. But you still need to meet with him, agree with him, and see his point of view, and you may also confirm the way he feels. You know, if I were you, I would feel the same thing. Or when I were your age, I had the same situation happen to me, and I felt the same way. So validation, be a friend. Don't make your son or daughter afraid of telling you anything. Okay. So this is the big guidelines. But of course, it's case by case. Depends on the situation. Depends on the problem. Yeah, I hope I answered. But I mean, there is more details when it comes to specific topics.
What else? What other concerns? Ella, we're at the very beginning of this, so this will go in the direction that you guys that everyone kind of moves it in terms of the types of things you'd like to talk about and the types of issues and any other concerns. Come on, guys. Yeah.
So I think most of sons not about talking about the sons. So son maybe when young in the age, he obey for you, he obey for parents, okay? Going to church, okay. Going to Sunday school, okay. Study, okay. So this manifestation appear until like middle school. The problem will start with in high school. So in high school, we will see me and I think most of people see argue why no, why yes. Maybe in the schools don't pay attention in studying. Okay, so how to deal with this? So the parents from different culture, Egyptian, like father, mother, culture, Egyptian. But the son, culture from here, from America. So like maybe a crack. Sometimes you say with high voice, why you high voice? But me or most of people here coming from Egypt, rights and to obey after that. How to deal with this, with the culture of America. And we will see this, the result, especially in third high school and the fourth high school. This, the last 2 years in high school is very, very hard. Very hard. Maybe the people don't talk because they're shy to talk. But if you go into the home, you stay many hours and object for the confess, secretary, confess. How to do all of this? How to
If you just reiterate the question.
So I think the question is about how to basically control our kids in high school.
especially the high school.
Which reflect the difference in the culture.
Yes.
Because in Egypt, we like to control kids. I mean, the sign that my child is good, he is obedient. That's not here. That's not here. And it should not be the mentality in the United States. So, it's not about control issue. Don't try to give your child impression that you are trying to control or you want him to obey you. You are not God. Okay? And they do sense that. Our children are very smart. If they feel that you just want to control them without giving them a good reason, he will not listen. He will do the other. He will go the other way, and it makes sense. So, what is here is to try to be logic. Make sure you defend your point. I'm sure you care about him, right? You have some concern that if he goes this way, he's going to get hurt, whether emotionally, physically, whatever, or he can get himself in trouble. Defend your point. Make sure that he understands it's not about controlling him, it's about protecting him. I have concern. And you can come up with some solution. You can meet in the middle. He can maybe convince you of his point. Listen, maybe you're wrong. He's right. So it's about raising kids with love and logic, as we call it. It's not about controlling. He doesn't have to listen to you if you can't defend your point, if you can't convince him. He's independent. He wants to feel independent. He doesn't like to feel being controlled. So the main point is, again, this is in general. It is case by case. It might change, but in general, you don't give your child order to obey or to listen. You need to give him the impression and make sure he understands that it's not you want to control him, it's you want to talk. You have concern. I am concerned about your safety. Why you want to do this? And let's talk. You don't have to be right. In high school, different from young age, you don't have to go with what you tell your son. You can change your mind. You can admit that you were wrong. It's okay. If you admit that you were wrong, he will admit that he was wrong in another situation. So conversation, communication, and you don't want to give your child impression that you just want to control him. Even in young children, but dealing with young children is different from high school. In young children, he doesn't have to understand. You still explain, but if he doesn't understand, then you enforce it. But you still have to explain, even in young children.
So you're saying if we fail teaching at a young age, then we're going to have a bigger problem in high school age? If we fail at a young age to take care of our children at a young age, then it's going to be a bigger problem in high school?
Of course. Actually,
yes.
Yeah, of course. So parenting should start maybe before the child is born. Okay, and that's the best way.
But the problem is with the culture, though.
Yes.
He mentioned, people kind of lose it. we have certain ways of
Yes.
teaching and learning.
Right.
Grew up, in Egypt and then down here, we don't agree with a lot of things here.
Right.
But it gets complicated.
It gets complicated, yeah. That's why you need to probably ask maybe other parents who have been here longer, because the mentality is completely different. And I'm not saying that here is worse than Egypt, I don't know, but we have to change. When we come to the United States, we have to be ready to change our mentality and the way we think, the way we deal with children. It's completely different.
So we have to work on ourselves first.
Of course, that's what I said earlier. Yes, work on yourself. Yes.
I think the advice is amazing. If you could role play, it might sink in.
Yes.
Because you're saying, listen and be logical, and I walk away like, okay, but I think role play, honestly,
Right.
because I grew up, I'm American, my parents are Egyptian, and if you tell me love and logic, and my law, as much logic as they can come at me with, I still have, you don't know, you didn't grow up here, you don't know, and it just takes everything off the table, because you don't trust them, and they panic, and raise their voice, and that's the cycle. So even the advice of love and logic is hard, because the kid is stuck on, you don't know, or you didn't live here, you don't know how it is, and, and so that's what my daughter said, you don't trust them. You don't trust them, but even though, I know what you're saying, it is the way it has to happen, so maybe some role playing with examples, demonstration, because
Yes.
I know that, I feel that, I went through that.
Yes, one of the problems in our culture coming from Egypt is we teach our kids by lecturing them. We put them in front of us and give them lectures. That is not the right way to teach kids. If you want your child to be a good person, you need to be a good person. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen unless you are a good person and you act in front of them as a good person. That's the role model. He will copy you, for sure. Yeah? But don't put him in front of you and give him lectures. And then you don't do the right thing that you're telling him to do. It makes him angry. And you will pay when he gets older. You will pay the price. So it's completely different in the States.
And Sharif, I think it's not just those who have come from Egypt,
Yeah.
but even those born and raised here who have, been raised in a certain way, even no matter how many times, we tell ourselves we're going to be different in this, we're also influenced by, the ways that our parents have brought us up. I don't think it's exclusive to,
No.
yeah.
We're talking in general, but it's not like.
That one of the very clear things that we've said over and over is, I think all of us knows and believes that our children are an incredible gift that God has given to us, right? But if you were to ask yourself, what do I feel my responsibility before God is for my child, for this gift that He has given me? What's my responsibility? What do you think? I think most people would say was to try to raise a godly child. Yes? This is my responsibility before God. He's given me a child out of His grace, and my responsibility is to raise a godly child. I'll tell you right now, that's not your responsibility in front of God. Your responsibility in front of God for your child is not to raise a godly child. Your responsibility is to provide for your child a godly parent. That is your one and only responsibility before God. And He will do the rest. Because this child also is an individual in front of God. I shouldn't say your only, but your number one. Your number one responsibility before God for your child is to provide for your child a godly parent. And then the other responsibilities come second, third, fourth, and et cetera. And then God really, because after that, we put him in God's hands.
Well, I can't agree more with Abuna. raising a kid is a journey that the parents and the kid go through, and all of them become better. So I become a better person raising my son, and he becomes a better person because I am becoming a better person. It's a journey that both of them, it's a learning experience. It's a growing up experience for both parents and the kids.
You know, we always talk about in the church sacraments, of course. Communion is a sacrament, confession is a sacrament, marriage is a sacrament. All of the sacraments, and of course we're talking about the Holy Spirit earlier with the Feast of Pentecost tomorrow, all of the sacraments, the purpose for the sacraments are to bring us closer to God, to help us know God personally. Yani the sacrament is for me personally, even wedding, even marriage, even though I have my spouse with me, but it's for me and my spouse together as one personally, and we become one. I like to think of it as the sacrament of parenting, the sacrament of being a parent. The sacrament, again, is for me to be closer to God. You know, that's what a sacrament is. You know, it's not the sacrament of childhood, of being a child of a parent. It's the sacrament of being a parent. That in and of itself is sacramental. It's a sacramental thing that God, why does God allow us to share, Matt, if you think about just how wonderful, when he said he made us in his image and likeness, how much more could he make us like him when he lets us have a part in creation? He lets us have a part in parenthood. Now he is Father. That's his father, parent, and the church is our mother. And we become fathers and mothers through this sacrament, the sacrament of being a parent. So that we are just like God, parents and fathers and mothers and who have children. So all of this is for our own, the focus so much, as Dr. Sharif said, is really so much of the issues that we have. Sometimes if we just point them back to ourselves and really, try to attain a spirit of peace. I think again, one of the fruits of the Spirit is peace, and one of the gifts of the Spirit is peace. But I think we often are at a lack of peace within ourselves, which causes a lot of trouble when it comes to the challenges of parenting and marital, relationships, and even it's when inside there is a lack of peace. There was a question at the end.
Can I explain in Arabic, because I think I can explain more in Arabic speech?
Sure, yes, sure.
Okay, can I listen to everything you said?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. أول ما بيسأل على إن ابنه ضد كل حاجة في المعتقدات لما بيجي يوصل لمرحلة الهاي سكول، حضرتك وصلت لي إحساس إنك أنت بتمثل النظام الرجيم بتاع البلد كمان. خلاص you have to give up to him and you have to change it in like understanding everything and give up on everything he seems right. Is correct. And in the bubbles. بدي ان احنا نبرر دلوقتي فعلا اهالينا ما كانوش عارفين يوصلوا للقصه صح. الناس الطريقه اللي كانوا بيتكلموا بيها، لكن كل كلام الناس الكبيره اللي تحت بيبقى صح. خصوصا ان احنا فتره صعبه هنا في البلد وفي ولاد كتير، فحضرتك كان كلامك كله لا احنا بنغير معتقداتنا، احنا بنجيب لهم شانس، احنا على فكره احنا بنعمل لصالحهم، بس احنا المفروض نناقش الطريقه اللي نوصل لهم ازاي يوصلوا ان احنا هو ده الطريق الصح في البلد، ان احنا عايزين مصلحتهم. لكن انت وصلت لي بصوره انك انت مثلا حد جاي من البلد اللي احنا عايشين فيها دي، يعني امريكاني قال كلام امريكا لازم توقف كده اللي هم الوصف بتاعك كمان، يعني ابنه المفروض هو كمان بيقول له هو انت اللي غلط بيقنعه، او هو المفروض يبقى انا عارف من قبل ابنه يقول كده كمان. فانا حاسس ان الطريقه دي مش انا مختلف معاها.
Okay, maybe I
Can you repeat it for the ones that didn't understand?
I think your question is about we shouldn't agree with the children. We should try to convince them otherwise because we work for their benefit. So we don't have to agree with the culture here. We have our own culture that protects the children, right? Right? Okay. Well, I probably was mistaken, or maybe I didn't come across clear. There is difference between talking logically and having a discussion and agreeing. I didn't say we agree, but I said we have to talk, and both of us have to agree, whether he convinced me or I convince him. But I don't have to be right, and that's the difference.
But if we reach the point that
What's that?
you not agree with me and you want to do whatever I want to do.
Okay, did you have the discussion?
After discussing everything I did,
Okay, did he convince you? Or you convinced him? Was
we reached
it
the point that nobody convinced.
nobody's convinced?
Yes.
Well, again, احنا بنتكلم in general يعني. Again, it is case by case, and I need to know the detail maybe. But in general, it's better to have discussion. You don't have to stick to your opinion without listening. And that's the difference between Egypt, maybe in general again, Egypt and here. In Egypt, we give an order, and we like enforce our opinion before we listen. Here's the other way around. You have to listen first. You don't have to agree in the end, but you have to first listen.
I work with high school kids, and the thing that works the best, and part of what is in the discussion, is you have to hear what their goals are. You have to put your goals aside for a moment, like with grades. If they have their own goals, like I want a driver's license, I want this, you have to hear their whole list of what they want, and they have to see you helping them on their own goals, not the ones that you decided for them. That is a big difference, because if you come and, like you said, you have the best for them, you already mapped out the goals, and this is the ones you want to work on, because you love them, you're looking out for them, and you're the best person for that. So you have to keep that list second, and let them come with their list first. And then they feel like he's on
Can
my
you
side.
give a hard example or a hard example?
This is,
If your son comes to you, if your son comes to you and you want to support the window flat, right?
what?
The window flat.
Right.
Okay.
Some things are right and wrong. No, but if he says, I want to get a job, okay, what do you want to get a job? What do you want to do with your money? What do you know, obviously the positive things, no, I'm talking about take their goals, what are the positive things that you can help them with? So they feel like, oh, he's helping me, okay, he's on my side. Now, they're a little bit more open to what you want to bring up. Your grades, your studying, your curfew, your phone, your whatever, all the stuff you want to bring up, you have to ask them what's important to them too, so they feel like we're a team. Because like the kids that I work with, if I pull my class and say, guess what, you need to work on this, and they're like,
Okay,
I don't have to.
we have 4 or 5 minutes, Sylvester. So look, no, this is good. I actually think that one of the specific example you brought up, what if a son or daughter who's in high school or whatever comes to you and says, I want to be supportive of, this, I have friends that are all wearing this rainbow stuff, and, I don't necessarily want to agree with them, but I don't want to hate on them either. I want to support them. What is, because this could happen, how do we address this? Like you said. So let's continue next week. This is beautiful. This is exactly what we want. Some of these good discussions and good specific issues. How do we deal with something specifically like this that is clear, black and white? And how do we take the method of, well, let's understand where they're coming from, but also address and correct what is right and what is wrong. So we can, God willing, continue week to week. Mary, did you want to say anything or?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Very quickly, I would be here on the list with the field of children with special needs. So I have just a quick note So I had this culture shock. I was like around 15 years old. So I had this culture shock. I grew up in a different country. Yeah, I came here with everything that my parents taught me in Egypt. So much difference at least. So I understand where you're coming from. And I also had a lot of fights with my parents. Like, no, this is not what my friends are doing. And then when I was in high school, a lot of my friends were bullying me because I was different, right? So if I didn't have a boyfriend, they would, bully me for not having one, right? So I went through these phases. The problem is,
How can you live with this? If you heard it, if you daughter
أنا عايزة بس أقول وإحنا صغيرين كنا برضه بنقول كنا برضه بنقول لأهلنا إيه؟ لا أنتوا لا قديمة، لا أنتوا مش فاهميننا صح. فإحنا دلوقتي as parents لما بنقعد مع نفسنا ونبقى honest بنقول إنه طب إحنا كمان كنا بنقول لأهلنا ده وإحنا صغيرين صح؟ فأكيد ولادنا دلوقتي عندهم نفس الأفكار اللي كانت عندنا. أوكي؟
Okay, Mary, before you get to number 2, because we need to go into Isaiah. Okay, look, Mary is also going to be with us at these meetings. As she said, she's a behavioral analyst. You said for kids with, so it's a blessing to have all these resources. Mary's going to be with us as well, and we can continue this wonderful and engaging discussion. And we need to get into discussions like this. But let's say a quick prayer, and then we can head into Isaiah, and we can continue. Yes. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, send us your blessings. Amen. Make us, Lord, worthy to pray thankfully, our Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Through Christ Jesus our Lord, thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. There's a few, there's some goodies in the back. Feel free, Yanni, to